What is up, and welcome in to a special Soda Soccer sit down. And I am here with a couple friends of the podcast, reoccurring guests on the podcast. Van, I think you've probably been on the pod now, or at least sat down with us here to chat probably 4 or 5 times at this point. You may be the most reoccurring guest we've ever had since we started 10,000 Pitches back in 2020. So applause there. I now don't actually quote me on that. I don't know that to be an absolute fact. But if I were to put my money on it, I think that would be. It's board members from Spam FC, Van and Amy. Van, Amy, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, man. Jeremy, it's really good to see you again. Through the screen here. Definitely thank you so much for having us back. It's been good. Just looking forward to have this conversation and seeing how everybody's doing. So it's always good to see you guys on screen.
Yeah, things
absolutely.
Are going well. We've had a successful year, even though it's not been quite the same. Not a lot of in-person activity, but people still really being supportive and great with the foundation and helping us out along the way.
Yeah, I think last year, right around this time, which makes total sense with the opening of the applications for the scholarships, we sat down, and then after we were done recording, we, hey, we're going to go, let's go get a beer this summer. And, that never happened. So maybe we got to go get a couple beers this summer.
I think we're up to a pitcher at this point.
Probably. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. The pitcher is on me for sure.
All right.
Okay, man.
I've been slacking. Yeah, I've been slacking. So when we're back in the city, like Amy, let's really make sure we make this happen.
Yeah, we're gonna exchange phone numbers after we get off the recording here. But anyways, it is that time of year. Spam FC, located out of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, 501c3 nonprofit. Not only do you guys compete in the Minnesota Amateur Soccer League and compete at a very high level in the Minnesota Amateur Soccer League, you also do a lot for the local community off the field, specifically with your scholarship foundation. More than $100,000 in scholarships raised since 2014. Scholarships for 2022 are now open, and you are raising that bar. Van, talk to me a little bit about how 2022 is going to be different than previous years.
Yeah, it's going to be our biggest year so far. So before we get to this year, let me just give you the high level of kind of where we came from and how we're going to be donating $30,000 this year. So back in the days, it started in 1998, just for you guys that are not familiar with us. I grew up in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, played soccer there after my family immigrated from Cambodia, met most of my friends through the soccer pitch, right? After college, we came back. We're like, all right, let's do something amazing for the community. So we started a men's league soccer team playing in MASL. And then one day, we're like, all right, let's find a way to give back to the community. So what we did was we put together a street soccer tournament, raised a whopping $2,500 after begging some of our friends, like, hey, can we get like $5? So the first year in 2014, we donated 2 scholarships, $609 each, so a total of $1,218.
Good job.
So over the years,
good math.
So over the years, we continue to raise a little more, through the community that we build. And fast forward into 2022, we're gonna be donating $30,000 this year to help students pay for college. Yeah.
Go from a $2,500 haul in a street soccer tournament, which is not bad at all. $2,500, especially, hey, can I get $5 from you? And then can you tell your mom, who can tell her sister, who can tell their friend, who can tell, you gotta get that word of mouth going somehow to go from that. And just, 7 short years here to go from that to, that $30,000, knowing you guys and knowing how you guys work and knowing the kind of community support that you guys have, I see no reason why you guys shouldn't be able to donate that $30,000 or raise that $30,000, I should say, for those scholarships. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
Be clear real quick. So we've already raised the money. So last year, like as Amy said, even though in the pandemic and we had to cancel every event in person, when we're talking about community, like that is the core of Spam FC. Like not being able to have our street soccer tournament, not being able to have our scholarship dinner. We managed to raise, I think it's like $65,000. So
Wow.
this year, from that account, we'll be able to donate $30,000 of that, and then have some rolling for the following year. So
That's amazing.
it's honestly, this started as a passion project, a way that we want to give back to the community. Basically, that's how Amy came to picture, because of us building the community. She wanted to be a part of the mission because she believed in what we did, and now she's one of the key players of the Spam FC boards.
Amy, before we get into your story, Van, I kind of want to talk about how, I guess, soccer team and nonprofit who impacts a ton of lives in the community sort of came together. I mean, you mentioned the street soccer tournament. Did you start the soccer club knowing that you wanted the scholarship foundation to be part of that? Or did that come after the fact, after you guys had sort of, I guess started this club or joined this club, and that just sort of was something that you wanted to add on? I guess it's kind of a chicken and the egg situation, but sort of what came first, and how did you guys sort of formulate this?
So for us, I think the club basically started itself back in like 1998. So we played soccer together. There's a wide age group between some of the oldest players and some of the youngest, like original Spam FC players, right? After practice, we would just play in the parking lot, street soccer style. Pickup was like just what we did. Even if we didn't play on that team, we would go to some other team's practice. So there's a guy of Bob Decker. We call him the godfather of St. Louis Park soccer. So basically, he'll coach an older team, and then a group that's like 2 or 3 years younger. So we like interchange play like that, and then like the passion within soccer within our group runs so deep that after practice we play, before practice we play. So after college, it was just like a natural thing to create and formalize, because most of us played college soccer. After college soccer, we have this incredible experience. Like, so what do we do next? None of us are really going to play pro after that. So we wanted to build a team in our home city, right? When we moved back home, trying to find out professional jobs. And then it only naturally that we make this nonprofit, because during our childhood, the adults gave us so much, right? Like for me personally, being an immigrant child, my parents had multiple jobs. Other parents have to drive me, pay for some of my tournaments, pay for my housing for faraway tournaments. So when we got into this position, to make a little money from our professional life, and now like thinking, what can we do to impact the community? It was only natural to make like that street soccer element into something more formalized, so we can raise the money around it and then find a way to give it back to the students.
How do you see that sort of I guess the shoe being on the other foot now, with you on the other side of that, and sort of being the one to give back, as opposed to, as you mentioned, sort of having the adults in your life when you were younger go out of their way or sacrifice a little bit to make sure you had what you needed. Now that the rules are kind of reversed and you're on the other side of that, how do you see that impact playing out? Like, do you see yourself in some of these kids and some of these people that you're impacting, and what's it been like sort of be on that other side of it, sort of the giving side of it now?
That's a great question. I think it's sort of like a reflection, right? So that the dollars that we give to the kids. So basically our scholarship is an encouragement of the kids to reflect on their experience and how soccer has impacted their life in a positive way. So basically reading their stories and trying to understand where they come from, it's very relatable to our experience and to our story. So now being the adult in this relationship or the capability to give back, I think I just feel very fortunate and very proud of the work that we do, because looking back 20 years ago, like, dang, like the adults in my life gave so much in terms of rides, like buying lunches, making sure just like a kid like myself and my friends will do well in school and like, on the pitch as well. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but I'm just very happy to be a part of this community, because it's really our chance to do something that's meaningful and positive for the people around us.
I'm interested to know how that snowball has sort of continued to roll? Because, we've mentioned these scholarships have been, they've been given out since 2014. And so I guess theoretically, if I try to do the math in my head, that means some of the initial recipients of these scholarships are now sort of in their mid-20s, right? 25, 26 maybe. Are you seeing sort of the next generation of that now? Do you see sort of some of them be more willing or wanting to go out of their way to sort of give back in their own way? Have some of them joined Spam FC and kind of helped out with what you guys are doing? What are you seeing kind of from those recipients as they get older and kind of the impact now they might be making?
Yeah, absolutely. So from a soccer standpoint, the kids that we supported are now young men who actually play and perform really well for our Division I and Division III MASL team. From a giving standpoint, when we give out the money, we don't expect them to do anything for Spam FC. It's about helping a kid make their experience in college a lot better, right? So for us, if you want to spend the money on rent, if you want to spend money on books, or even buy a pair of shoes because, it may make you happy if you're in a situation where you just feel like crap. Whatever you would choose to do with that money, that's you. We don't care. But at the end of the day, like, good things that you do in the community always come back. So one of the kids that I used to coach, who now lives in New York City as well, hit me up like 2 weeks ago. He's like, dude, I'm playing pickup on Saturday. You should come. Went to play with them last week. It was such an amazing thing. So like now he used to work in a remote area doing some really cool things. So like it might not be giving out money specifically, but the idea around making impact around the people around you is like the thing that's the most gratifying thing that I guess Spam FC have our fingertips on. So yeah,
absolutely. Amy, I'm going to bring you in here now.
Right.
You're a board member with Spam FC, but you also, the Scholarship Foundation is sort of, near and dear to your heart. So first off, sort of talk about how you got entered into your role with Spam FC, and then sort of how you've been sort of directly impacted, or the direct, I guess, front row seat, I guess, that you've had for the impact of the Scholarship Foundation for you specifically and your family.
Yeah. So my brother played soccer with these guys, which is how I kind of met them at the beginning. And I think they were planning one of the events, and I can have a big mouth at times. So sometimes I end up volunteering myself for things. And the more we talked, Van brought me into a meeting one day and goes, well, we made a decision. You're going to be a board member. And I was like, wait, what? I thought I was just helping out. I think they voted ahead of time before I got there, maybe. Which I was more than happy to get involved. I'm a big fan of nonprofit work, and event planning and those kind of things are kind of my specialty, maybe. And it led to more than just being involved in that. Van has been a huge supporter to my son, who is now 17. So he'll be going into his senior high school time at St. Louis Park. And I know Van and I are both like, how is that possible?
I see Van shaking his head. Van, how long have you known?
We're not that old. We couldn't be that old to have him be that, being in a senior year of high school. But one of the things that I think when we're talking about building community that is amazing about this group is, since Kwame was, I don't know, 10, 12 maybe, Van has been picking him up for random pickup games, or, talking about grades and how important it is to get good grades, and rewarding Kwame through,
Chipotle.
anything. Yeah.
Chipotle. Hey, that's
Chipotle
the ultimate
is
reward,
big.
man.
He will get an A for a Chipotle burrito. I mean, that's just who that kid is.
I mean, what wouldn't you do for a Chipotle burrito, though? Really?
Right.
I mean, that's one of those things.
Or Gatorade.
I mean,
like,
personally,
they would stop for Gatorade when they'd go play. I mean, it's those organic, like, situations with a kid that makes an impact. And I think that's what it's you know, the world gets to see us give out scholarships and stuff, but when we talk about building community, we really build community. A lot of the money that we get coming in, especially in a year like where we can't have events and stuff, is because they see the passion in this organization and they see what it means to us, and they just want us to succeed, and they want us to be able to help kids and be supportive. This year I got to talk to the St. Louis High School boys soccer club at their banquet, which of course was humiliating to my son that I got up and, and spoke. But to get to see what that does for kids and parents who are trying to figure out how to pay for college. I have one daughter who's 20 now and in her second year of college. And I can tell you it's ridiculously expensive these days. And every day is, you know, something new, and the fees and the books and everything. So anything we can do to help those kids a little bit to succeed is just such an amazing feeling. And you could not find a group of guys who is more passionate about giving. And it shows these younger guys that, you know, giving back to community and stuff is amazing, and it makes a difference. And, you know, we see that all the time. I luckily get to see it at home because, you know, Van and my son are so close. But it's just an amazing experience all the time, and it's so much fun to be involved, and it makes you want to do more.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Jeremy, the question you asked is at what age did I meet Kwame or know Kwame? I think so. There's a picture that Kwame and his friends were at the game. I think they were like 7 or 8 years old. I think there was like 5 or 6 of them, and they had like spam written across their chest. Like they're tiny. They're like this skinny.
They were teeny.
But now I think Kwame's like 6'1". Like his voice is super deep. I'm like, dude. Like Kwame came to visit us. I think it was last spring, and we were juggling and kicking the ball around. I was like, dang, this kid is humongous. Like, and it's crazy to see the growth, because not just that. So Kwame and his friend Wilton and Bashardinho, who works very closely with Futsal Society, they helped out and hosted our Fantasy Scholarship dinner, I guess 2 years ago now. And like being those young kids in the stands, like watching us play soccer and just being around, having conversation, how important it is to give back to the community. And then as a 15-year-old, have a platform in front of about 200 plus people to speak and like have that, like, you know, the stage just be his and share what his thoughts are around giving back and running the show. It was like I just sat back in the room and just see, like, you know, him and Tony run the show, just seeing how proud like everybody was of how great of a job that he did. So it was really cool, man. It came kind of full circle for me as well.
Well, and
Amy, you mentioned Kwame's entering his. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amy. My fault.
No, I was just gonna say, what, you know, they let Kwame MC our last banquet with Tony, one of our board members, and beforehand, and Van had picked Kwame up and taken him shopping for his first suit coat.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you what, as a mom, like, it brought me to tears, because it was such a big deal to Kwame, and Van and him just went off on their own, and they're buying a suit coat, and he looked so slick, and he was so proud of himself that night. Like, what he instills in him is beyond, you know, school. It's beyond soccer. It's that, you know, you can do anything, Kwame, if you put your mind to it, and we'll be here to support you, because every one of those guys on that team knows him and calls him out if they see him in the community. And that's just such an awesome thing to give a kid.
Yeah, I think those are definitely really kind words for sure. And that's the model that we have in terms of giving. I think it's, we see the potential in people, and sometimes they might not have the right access or whatever it is. I think that's why we don't necessarily restrict like what you need to do with your money. It's about like, how can this a little bit of money support your journey while you're trying to get a higher education? If you need that money to, help pay your mom's like rent bill for that month, like amazing. Or if you need to pay for your tuition or books, amazing. Whatever it is, like our job is to make their journey a little bit easier. So
that's awesome, and it sounds like you've made not only Kwame's life easier, but I mean a lot of kids have benefited over the last 8 years now from the Spam FC Scholarship Foundation. Give me before I forget and we move on to other topics and things, give me sort of the logistics on this year's scholarships. You guys are giving out $30,000 in scholarships. How many scholarships are available? How long is it open for? What's the deadline? Different things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, I can take this one. So
Right.
the total dollar value is going to be $30,000. The scholarship is actually open right now on spamfc.com, spamfc.com. The application process is super simple. Go to the website, click on apply, and then right now we have 4 different scholarships that 6 different scholarships you can apply for. The first 4 are 4 name scholarships that we've rolled out since 2015 to commemorate our loved ones that passed away. So one for my dad, late Hong, which is $2,500. Damian McManus, $2,500. Evan McManus, which is $2,000. Kai Gerhardsen, one of our teammates, $2,000. And then we have a Spam FC STEM scholarship, $2,000. And then a legacy Spam FC 609 scholarship is $1,000. So right now it's going to be a range between, I would say, 18 and 15. We want to have a little flexibility to kind of play with the dollar value a little bit based on the number of applications that we'll get this year. And it opens now. It'll close at the end of April. I believe it's April 31st is the last day.
30th, I believe.
Yeah, 30th. So that's about the logistics behind it. The one thing that I'll say to the kids or to the parents, if you're telling the kids about this scholarship, is that, take the time to tell your story, because, don't rush through it just because of the money aspect. Think about like how soccer has impacted your life in a positive way until now. Because for us, if we don't sit down and reflect on the time that we've had in St. Louis Park, we don't get to build this scholarship, grow it, and find ways to give back. Because, I mean, soccer is an incredible sport. I played it when I was in Cambodia with no shoes on in the rice fields, to playing Division I at Milwaukee and playing Division III at Augsburg, and then eventually playing for Spam FC. Think about those experiences, because they're so valuable in terms of building your own character, shaping who you are as a person, and then building the community that we have, with you, that we met a couple of years ago, and then Amy, I guess like more than a decade now. So through these conversations, we're a part of the same community. Like being on this space to talk about Spam FC, it's impacting other kids in a way that they, can quantify right now. So, yeah.
Definitely. You mentioned that a handful of these scholarships are named after, loved ones who have since passed. Has that always been the case with the Spam FC Scholarship Foundation? And what does it mean to you to sort of carry on a legacy of, you mentioned your dad is one of the namesakes of these scholarships, but also a lot of others. What does it mean to you to sort of carry on these legacies through the Scholarship Foundation and through something that's so impactful, as we previously mentioned?
Yeah, I think for me personally, so I think the first time we rolled out these name scholarships was either in 2015 or 2016. It's so important to us because, my dad was a big community guy. So when we build this thing around the idea of soccer, education, and community, once you enter the community, you become a part of it, like forever, whether you're here with us or not here with us, because that's what we want. Damien and Evan. Damien was a referee and a coach in St. Louis Park for many years. Evan was actually one of my players for a few years. So he was supposed to play for Spam FC the year he was supposed to graduate high school, but unfortunately, his life was taken away too soon. And Kai Gerhardsen, our dear friend and teammate, similar things happen, right? Like life happens, but through this process, the community that we build, we want to keep them in our memory for as long as we can. Hopefully, the more we grow, the more we can support them in various ways to keep their name alive.
That's amazing. One last thing on the Scholarship Foundation, and we'll move on to some other stuff. You mentioned, sort of the crux of the scholarship and the crux of the application process is letting you know how much soccer has impacted that individual's life, right? That's sort of the key behind that. But they don't need to have played soccer, right? That's not a requirement. It's just soccer needs to have impacted their life, correct?
Mm-hmm. Look, one of the best stories I've heard was like this young woman was an immigrant from Myanmar, Burma, grew up in the Karen community, never really played officially on like a formal team, but soccer was the vessel that allowed her to create friends, build relationship. That's beautiful. You don't have to play on an elite team to win these scholarships. For us, it's about a reflection on how soccer has impacted life in a positive way. And I don't know, Amy, if you have any things to add to that, but to me, that's an amazing story, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's great about soccer is it's such a universal sport. And it's something that people are passionate about. Whether I've never played soccer, you wouldn't want to see me play soccer. But I will tell you, I mean, it'd probably be entertaining. But one of the great things that I take from it is just how passionate people are about it and how they get excited. It's a different feeling than than other sports for whatever reason that is. And so it is kind of that universal, and you can bring so many people together from that. And it, it's a team sport, so you learn that, but it's a different thing. I know that in my household, if Manchester United is playing, if it's 4 a.m., we're getting up at 4 a.m. Awesome. And it means Tommy and I are doing donuts and, coffee and hot cocoa. Then that's what we're doing. But you get your jersey on and you get down to the TV no matter what time it is. That. And I think that is it. Some kids don't play on a regulation team. I mean, Futsal Society is a great organization that brings just kids together, and they all just play from all over town, and those experiences are great community builders. And so I think that's one of those things that a lot of people haven't experienced. It doesn't mean that they played great soccer. It could be that they're just passionate about watching it. So we just want to hear the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played a minute of organized soccer in my life, and I talk about it on a daily basis. So, I mean, it's it's one of those things where you're right, Amy. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, you don't need to have played soccer to catch the itch, catch the bug.
That's right,
for sure. And once you catch it, it pulls you in and does not let you go. So that is definitely something that I have found, especially through this process with 10K and now SodaSoccer.com. I think, stories like that, as you mentioned, Van, you don't need to have played soccer to have those kind of impactful stories. So that is awesome. So one more time, spamfc.com to apply for the scholarships, get all the info, $30,000 in scholarships given out. in 2022. A lot of different scholarships to be given out with that $30,000. And the deadline is April 30th. But don't wait till the last minute. Go get those applications in. Do it well. Think through it. Be thorough, but also
check your
be
spelling.
Yep, check your spelling. Absolutely. Make sure your grammar is all good, in check. Great stuff from Spam FC as always. It's been awesome getting to know you guys through this process, and now like the third year promoting the Scholarship Foundation for you guys. It's an honor to kind of help get the word out and boost that. But let's transition now and talk about what's been happening on the field in the MASL. So Spam, you guys had kind of ran roughshod over Division I and MASL for the previous couple of years, but a lot of competition at the top of the table last year. Talk to me about, from your vantage point, how the last MASL season went and how things ended up.
So 3 years ago, we were the champions before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hit. No excuses, but it's been kind of rough for us in terms of, being as competitive as we should be. But I think with things kind of coming back to, I'm going to do air quote, a little bit more normal, I think we should be pretty competitive this year. We'll have Cole back. We'll have a bunch of younger players back. It'll be a mixed bag again, a bunch of vets and some good young talent that's fresh out of college. Look out for Spam FC. We're going to be pretty fun to watch still.
Well, to me, it's a testament to just how good this league is and just how exponentially better it has gotten over that 3-year span. I mean, you see every team sort of up in their level of play, right? So, and people ask me about the MASL because I mentioned on the podcast every now and again, they're like, well, it's an amateur soccer league. I'm like, yeah, it's an amateur soccer league, but you're going to go see some high level soccer if you go watch one of these games. I mean, Van, just yourself, you're a D1 player, former D1 player at UW Milwaukee. You played at Augsburg. Now you're playing at Spam. It's like, these are really, really good soccer players, whether they're on the way up or they're, again, like you, former college players who are, still looking for a high level place to play. It's really been fun to, over these last couple of years, watch the level of the league grow and the competition in the league grow. What's that been like from your vantage point in terms of how the league itself has sort of grown over these last few years?
I mean, I'm always impressed because I'm a believer of like the next generation is always better than the previous. From a technical standpoint, the kids are just better. From like a soccer IQ standpoint, like, I mean, there's so much access to soccer information nowadays, right? A kid literally can spend hours like watching soccer analysis online, just like learn the game that way, or just go to any, really area and play pickup still. Like, the competition in MASL it's been good for many years, but like you said, in the past couple of years, it's really grown because soccer in Minnesota in general, with the professional team, now with the women's professional team, like, it's just a place to be. And I think there's so much growth there. That's why MASL is such a household league in there. I think it's always going to be competitive and continue to grow because it's, at this stage, it's just like, it's a safe place to go and play and then go elsewhere and play as well if you want to, stay competitive.
Absolutely. And now you see Minnesota now has a D1 college program right here in the Twin Cities. There's this, St. Cloud State, D2. There's a lot of options for these kids now in terms of where they're going to play over the summer. And the MASL has got to be on that list too, just because of how competitive it is and the type of competition they can get over the summer. Amy, what's that been like from your perspective? I'm interested as somebody who's not on the field, but on the boards. So obviously, you're paying attention to what's going on. I would assume you probably have some friends and people in the community who maybe don't know much about the MASL and maybe have some preconceived notions about it. Do you have those kinds of conversations with people, and you'll have to be like, hey, no, this is some good high quality stuff that we're watching over the summer here. What's sort of just the MASL experience been like for you? Obviously, we talked about the Scholarship Foundation, but when it comes to watching the on-field product, what's that been like for you?
So we are big fans at our house of going to any Spam FC game that's going on around us. If the kids are home, or a lot of times Kwame and all his friends will go. I think what's unique about them is they have, and I don't know as much about the other teams, but Spam has people that actually show up in those stands and are there every game. And it's, like he said, since the kids were little, there's like true fans in this community of watching those guys come out and play. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and they are very competitive games to watch. So it's not your average, just, I don't know, bunch of old guys running around on the field.
It's not a rec league.
They are not a rec league by any means. They are very competitive, and it's super fun to watch.
Yeah, for me, as someone who enjoyed coaching for a long time, just seeing some of the people play really well. I'm during the game, it's hard to turn off the competitive nature, right? But after the game, you're like, man, this kid is really good, and it was really fun to compete against this type of player. And like Amy said, for us, it's about the community. So on the pitch, 90 minutes, we're maybe not the nicest people, but after the game, you can definitely catch us at a local pub, and then share. We'll definitely buy you a beer for sure. So yeah, we're good people all around.
The other thing that's great about this is it gets to there's something in between, because I think that a lot of athletes, whether it's they go from high school to playing on one of these, one of the Spam leagues, or if they're make it through college, and then in a lot of sports, there's no place to go. So, you either you played in high school and you're done, or, you play in college and then you're done. But this adds such an exciting experience for people that are really passionate about still playing and not going to the pros. So it's they're passionate about it. So it's fun to watch.
So correction. So Matt Gibbons, who's actually in Germany right now, I think he's playing in the 5th or 6th division professionally. So, so he just graduated from Gustavus. I think 2-time All-American, All-Region player last year. I mean, we got talent on Spam FC. We might be a little bit older, but some of the young kids, they can play.
And that's all right. Keeps you young. Going up against and playing with that young talent.
And where did they learn all those skills? It's from the older guys. So, come on.
That's right. We'll take the credit for that.
Taught them everything they know, but not everything you know. Right, Van?
That's right.
That's the important part. All right. Let's wrap this up and let's put a bow on this. Van and Amy, thank you both so much again for taking the time to come on and talk about the great work you're doing in the community there with the Spam FC Scholarship Foundation. Van, I'm just going to kind of open up the floor to you. Sort of any final thoughts, whether it's on-field related, Scholarship Foundation related, just sort of, I get maybe one little final elevator pitch on the Scholarship Foundation, if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I just want to congratulate you and the team. Been there with 10K since the very beginning, and you guys are definitely growing within the soccer space. So congratulations there.
Thank you.
Lastly, from Spam FC perspective, for us, it's about raising money to provide an impact and donate to the kids, right? If you can't support us financially, certainly take the time to share, because, it may help a kid's life or a kid in your life to gain access to higher education and just make their life easier and better. From a scholarship standpoint, make sure you tell the kid about it. Spamfc.com is where they apply. For us, it's about building that community, and hopefully that you want to join that community and help us create an impact for the kids within the soccer community that we're growing and building. So that's it.
Absolutely. All right. Van and Amy, board members for Spam FC and the Spam FC Scholarship Foundation. This has become like an annual chat. And I always get excited for it. It's fun to just, every year just continue to see how the Scholarship Foundation has grown, the number of people it's impacted, the level of impact that it's creating. So I'm sure we'll be right back here next February talking about maybe 50K next year, Van. We'll see.
I like that. Let's put that in the universe and see what happens.
There
I like that.
You go. Speak it into existence. Love it. Perfect. It. All right, and we're gonna get that beer this summer too, right?
Yes, Amy, please make sure that happens.
Hey, I'll hold you to it.
I will be back the first the end of May through the first week of June. So let's actually tentatively plan for that.
All right.
Boom.
Love it. Jeremy?
One last thing, Jeremy. If we can add this in somewhere, we're gonna be we're potentially thinking about hosting our Spam FC Scholarship Dinner in person June 18th ish. So that's still TBD. During that time frame, we definitely should get a beer for sure on me. So
okay, sounds good. Mid-June for the Spam FC Scholarship Dinner. Around there.
Real people.
Keep it locked into spamfc.com. Follow Spam FC on social media. I believe it's at spam_FC on Twitter specifically. I'm a Twitter guy. I don't know what you guys are, what your handle is on other social platforms.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
All right. Sounds good. Van and Amy, thank you again so much. And I'm sure we'll chat hopefully less than a year from now.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. We owe you that beer.
Thanks, Jeremy.